Hello there, my name is John and I am a nobody. I'd like to talk today about teaching bass. I used to teach bass in a music school, but I actually taught in a youth centre, and I had some great students and a wonderful boss. Thank you, Joachim, if you're watching. And the students were really excited about learning and they wanted to learn, and you teach them something and they'd go home and practice it and they'd come back the next day and they could play it. It was great. There was one in particular who was just fantastic. He'd go home, learn it, come back. He looked good. He was a nice personality. Any band in the world would have been happy to have him. And he could play literally anything. He was very good. And he eventually decided to join a bank because he was looking for job security. Now, I don't know if there's such a thing as job security in a bank anymore, but wherever you are, good luck to you, and I wish you well. I had another student who was also talented, very talented, and he was into reggae music. He was a white German guy, and the last time I saw him, he was still playing in reggae bands. So maybe he's become something of a legend, I don't know. But he was also very interesting. And this is a story about him, or what happened to him, which is quite something. So I was waiting to give him his lesson, and he was usually on time. But this day, he didn't turn up. He was about half an hour late. And he said to me, "You will not believe what happened on the tram when I was coming in to the lesson." So I let him tell me the story, and it was quite extraordinary. It's was in the olden days when they had this thing called classic racism, or what I call classic racism, which was white on black racism. Now you've got different kinds of racism, but that's another subject. Unless you've watched commercials or want to get into the army or the Air Force, you might know what I mean. But this particular chap, he came in and he told me the story, and the story was this. He was sitting on the tram, and then inspectors came onto the tram to control the tickets. And there was a black guy sitting there, and one of the controllers walked up to him and said, "Has Choco Moco got a ticket?" And this is a horrible term to use for a person, a black person. I don't think it's nice to use any kind of food terms for somebody's skin. Anyway, so this black guy looked up at the inspector and said, in perfect German, "Yes, Choco Moco does have a ticket. And Choco Moco happens to be a lawyer and would like to have your service number and your name, please." And he took him off of the tram and wrote down his number and his name. And that was just amazing. And the student told me this. I thought that was so great because I don't like any kind of racism. And it was such a great story. You know, yes, Chocomoco does have a ticket. What a great answer. And I'm sure that guy got into a lot of trouble if he didn't lose his job. And in a way, I hope he did lose his job. The East Germans had a bad reputation, or still do, for being racist, but there's a long history behind that. They didn't have many black people in East Germany. The only people they had were from Mozambique, which was a communist country, and they used to send their people to East Germany to work in factories and stuff like that. So they'd have to send a percentage of their money home. Now, what does that mean, sending a percentage home? Well, it means that they were always short of money. Because if you have to send a percentage of it home to your home country, then you're always going to be that little bit short. So they had a terrible reputation for stealing bicycles and stealing stuff because, you know, they'd be working all week and they'd still end up short because of that percentage they had to send home. So it's always good to see both sides of the argument, in my opinion. But the story about the guy on the tram is not something that's easy to forget. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves and those you love. And as always, all the very best to you and those you love. And Trzaskowski.